You think you're just buying meat for dinner, but what if I told you that some of the biggest grocery chains in America are selling you meat that's been sitting in trucks for weeks, pumped full of chemicals, and handled by workers who don't follow basic safety protocols? We're talking about meat so contaminated it should come with hazard warnings, not recipe suggestions. Here's what's terrifying. The meat industry has become a race to the bottom, where the cheapest, most contaminated products end up on the shelves of major grocery chains. These stores prioritize profit margins over food safety, and they're counting on you not to ask questions about where your meat comes from or how it's been handled. The numbers are staggering. Foodborne illness from contaminated meat sends over 100,000 Americans to the hospital every year. But the grocery stores selling this dangerous meat face almost no consequences because the regulatory system is designed to protect corporations, not consumers. But the contamination isn't just about bacteria. We're talking about meat that's been treated with ammonia, injected with artificial colors to hide spoilage, and pumped full of hormones and antibiotics that create antibiotic-resistant superbugs. The steak you think is fresh might have been sitting in a warehouse for months. The number one store on this list has been caught selling meat that was green with spoilage but treated with chemicals to make it look fresh. Number 3 routinely sells meat that's past its expiration date with new labels slapped over the old ones. And number 5, their meat department has been shut down by health inspectors more times than any other major chain. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to expose the 5 worst grocery stores for meat that are putting your family's health at risk, and reveal the 3 stores that actually care about quality and safety. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly where to shop and where to avoid when it comes to feeding your family safe, quality meat. Before we dive into the worst offenders, let me expose what's really happening in the grocery store meat industry. This isn't just about a few bad stores. This is about systematic problems that affect how meat is processed, transported, and sold across America. Most grocery store meat doesn't come from local farms or even regional suppliers. It comes from massive industrial processing plants that prioritize volume and cost savings over quality and safety. These facilities process thousands of animals per day, creating perfect conditions for contamination and corner cutting. The meat you buy today might have been processed weeks or even months ago. It's been frozen, thawed, treated with chemicals, and transported across the country before it reaches your local store. By the time it hits the display case, it's already been through a gauntlet of potential contamination points. But here's what makes it worse. Grocery stores know about these problems and choose to sell questionable meat anyway because the profit margins are too good to pass up. They'd rather risk your health than lose money on meat that should be thrown away. The inspection system is a joke. Government inspectors can't possibly check every shipment, and when they do find problems, the penalties are so small that stores just consider them a cost of doing business. It's cheaper to pay fines than to maintain proper safety standards. The labeling is deliberately misleading. Terms like fresh, natural, and farm-raised have no legal meaning and are used to make industrial meat sound wholesome. That fresh ground beef might have been sitting in a truck for 2 weeks before being ground and packaged. Temperature control is another major issue. Meat is supposed to be kept at specific temperatures throughout the supply chain, but cost-cutting measures mean that temperature breaks are common. Your meat might have spent hours or days in the danger zone where bacteria multiply rapidly. The workers handling your meat are often undertrained, overworked, and underpaid. They're not given proper training in food safety, and they're pressured to work quickly rather than safely. Mistakes are inevitable when profit is prioritized over proper procedures. Let's start with number 5, Walmart. Their meat department represents everything wrong with corporate grocery chains that prioritize volume and low prices over quality and safety. Walmart's meat comes from the cheapest suppliers they can find, which means it's often from facilities with poor safety records and questionable practices. They negotiate prices so aggressively that suppliers have to cut corners on quality control and safety measures to meet Walmart's demands. The meat processing facilities that supply Walmart have been cited for numerous violations, including improper temperature control, contaminated equipment, and inadequate sanitation procedures. But Walmart continues using these suppliers because they offer the lowest prices, regardless of the safety implications. Temperature control at Walmart stores is notoriously poor. Former employees have reported meat sitting at room temperature for hours during delivery and stocking. The refrigeration systems are often inadequate for the volume of meat they're trying to store, leading to temperature fluctuations that promote bacterial growth. The meat department staff receives minimal training in food safety and handling procedures. They're expected to process large volumes of meat quickly, with little emphasis on proper safety protocols. This leads to cross-contamination, improper storage, and unsafe handling practices. Walmart's meat often sits on shelves longer than it should because of their high-volume, low-turnover model. Meat that should be discarded is often repackaged with new dates or moved to different locations within the store to avoid waste. Customers end up buying meat that's well past its prime. The ground beef is particularly problematic because it's often made from scraps and trimmings from multiple sources, increasing the risk of contamination. The grinding equipment isn't always properly sanitized between batches, allowing bacteria to spread throughout large quantities of meat. Quality control is virtually non-existent at many locations. Meat that's obviously spoiled, discolored, or smells bad is often still sold to customers because employees aren't trained to recognize signs of spoilage or aren't empowered to remove questionable products. The packaging used at Walmart is designed to hide problems rather than preserve quality. Modified atmosphere packaging and chemical treatments can make spoiled meat look fresh, deceiving customers into buying contaminated products. Number 4 is Kroger, and this chain has become notorious for using chemical treatments to mask the age and quality of their meat. They're essentially running a chemistry lab disguised as a meat department. Kroger uses carbon monoxide treatment on much of their meat to maintain the bright red color that consumers associate with freshness. This gas treatment can make meat look fresh for weeks after it's actually spoiled, deceiving customers into buying contaminated products that could make them seriously ill. The chemical treatments don't stop with carbon monoxide. Kroger meat is often treated with antimicrobial solutions, pH adjusters, and other chemicals designed to extend shelf life and hide spoilage. You're not buying meat. You're buying a chemical-treated product that happens to be made from animal tissue. Kroger's meat suppliers have been caught using ammonia treatments on ground beef to kill bacteria, but this process creates harmful byproducts and doesn't address the underlying contamination issues. The ammonia-treated meat has a distinctive smell and taste that many customers find off-putting. The meat aging process is artificially accelerated using enzymes and chemical tenderizers. This makes tough, low-quality meat seem more palatable, but it also breaks down the natural structure of the meat and can create harmful compounds. Kroger's meat department workers are trained to use these chemical treatments routinely, often without understanding the health implications. They're taught to prioritize appearance and shelf life over actual quality and safety. The labeling is particularly deceptive because they use terms like enhanced and improved to describe chemically treated meat. Customers think they're getting better quality when they're actually getting more processed, chemical-laden products. The injection of solutions into whole cuts of meat is standard practice at Kroger. These solutions can contain sodium phosphates, artificial flavors, and preservatives that increase the weight of the meat while decreasing its nutritional value. You're paying meat prices for salt water and chemicals. Cross-contamination is a major problem at Kroger because the same equipment is used to process chemically treated and untreated meat. Even if you try to buy cleaner products, they may be contaminated with chemicals from other processing. Number 3 is Safeway, and this chain has developed a systematic approach to selling expired meat by manipulating dates and repackaging old products. They've turned expiration date fraud into an art form. Safeway routinely removes expired meat from shelves, repackages it with new dates, and puts it back out for sale. Former employees have reported being instructed to change dates on meat that was obviously spoiled, creating a dangerous situation for unsuspecting customers. The meat grinding operation at Safeway is particularly problematic because they often use expired whole cuts to make ground beef. Meat that's too old to sell as steaks or roast gets ground up and sold as fresh ground beef with new packaging dates. Meat department managers are under pressure to minimize waste, which leads to creative repackaging schemes. Meat that's starting to turn is often mixed with fresher meat, diluting the spoilage but still creating health risks for customers. The markdown meat section at Safeway is where much of the questionable products end up. Meat that's been sitting too long gets marked down and sold to price-conscious customers who don't realize they're buying potentially dangerous products. Temperature logs at Safeway locations have shown frequent violations of safe storage temperatures. Meat is often stored at temperatures that promote bacterial growth, but it's still sold to customers because the appearance hasn't changed enough to be obvious. The seafood and meat departments often share equipment and storage areas, leading to cross-contamination between different types of products. Fish bacteria can contaminate beef and vice versa, creating additional health risks. Safeway's supplier relationships prioritize cost over quality, leading to meat from facilities with poor safety records. They continue using suppliers who have been cited for violations because switching would increase costs and reduce profit margins. The training provided to meat department employees focuses more on sales and presentation than on food safety. Workers are taught to make meat look appealing rather than to identify and remove potentially dangerous products. Number 2 is Food Lion, and this chain has earned a reputation as contamination central due to their poor handling practices, inadequate refrigeration, and systematic disregard for food safety protocols. The meat storage areas are notorious for poor temperature control and inadequate cleaning. Health inspectors have found meat stored at dangerous temperatures, with some products reaching levels that promote rapid bacterial growth and spoilage. The meat processing areas at Food Lion locations often fail basic sanitation standards. Equipment isn't properly cleaned between uses, leading to cross-contamination between different types of meat and the buildup of dangerous bacteria on cutting surfaces and grinding equipment. The meat suppliers include some of the lowest quality processors in the industry. These facilities have been cited for numerous violations, including improper slaughter techniques, contaminated water supplies, and inadequate inspection procedures. The ground beef at Food Lion is particularly dangerous because it's often made from a mixture of scraps from multiple sources, including meat that's been sitting too long or showing signs of spoilage. The grinding process spreads any contamination throughout the entire batch. The employees in the meat department receive minimal training in food safety and are often pressured to work quickly rather than safely. This leads to improper handling, inadequate cleaning, and shortcuts that compromise food safety. The packaging and labeling at Food Lion is designed to hide problems rather than inform customers. Meat that's starting to spoil is often repackaged in smaller portions or mixed with fresher meat to disguise the quality issues. Food Lion's meat department has been shut down by health inspectors more frequently than any other major grocery chain. Violations have included rodent infestations, improper storage temperatures, and contaminated equipment that posed immediate health risks. The chicken products are particularly problematic because they often come from processing plants with poor safety records. Salmonella and other bacterial contamination is common, but the meat is still sold to unsuspecting customers. Cross-contamination between raw and cooked products is a major problem at Food Lion because of poor layout and inadequate separation of different processing areas. Ready-to-eat products can become contaminated with bacteria from raw meat. And now for number 1, Save-A-Lot. This discount chain represents the absolute worst in grocery store meat departments, combining poor quality products with dangerous handling practices and systematic disregard for customer safety. The meat comes from the bottom tier of suppliers, facilities that other grocery chains reject due to quality and safety concerns. These processors often have extensive violation histories and use the cheapest, most questionable practices to keep costs down. The meat storage and display areas are consistently the worst in the industry. Refrigeration systems are often inadequate or poorly maintained, leading to temperature fluctuations that promote bacterial growth and accelerate spoilage. Save-A-Lot routinely sells meat that's well past its expiration date, often with dates that have been altered or covered with new labels. Former employees have reported being instructed to sell meat that was obviously spoiled because throwing it away would hurt profit margins. The meat processing equipment at Save-A-Lot locations is often old, poorly maintained, and inadequately cleaned. Cross-contamination between different types of meat is common, and the buildup of bacteria on equipment creates ongoing health risks. Save-A-Lot's meat department staff receives virtually no training in food safety or proper handling procedures. They're often part-time workers with high turnover rates who aren't invested in maintaining quality or safety standards. The ground beef at Save-A-Lot is made from the cheapest scraps and trimmings available, often including meat that's been rejected by other processors. The grinding equipment isn't properly sanitized, spreading contamination throughout large batches of meat. The chicken products come from processing plants with some of the worst safety records in the industry. Salmonella contamination rates are significantly higher than industry averages, but the meat is still sold without adequate warnings or safety measures. The packaging is designed to hide quality problems rather than preserve freshness. Modified atmosphere packaging and chemical treatments can make spoiled meat appear fresh, deceiving customers into buying dangerous products. Health inspectors have found numerous violations at Save-A-Lot locations, including improper storage temperatures, contaminated equipment, inadequate cleaning procedures, and meat that posed immediate health risks to consumers. Now let me explain what buying meat from these contaminated stores is actually doing to your health, because the consequences go far beyond just an upset stomach or food poisoning. Bacterial contamination from improperly handled meat can cause serious foodborne illnesses, including Salmonella, E. coli, and Campylobacter infections. These these aren't just temporary inconveniences. They can cause permanent damage to your digestive system, kidneys, and immune system. The chemical treatments used to hide spoilage and extend shelf life can cause allergic reactions, respiratory problems, and long-term health issues. Carbon monoxide treatment, ammonia washing, and other chemical processes create compounds that your body wasn't designed to process. Antibiotic-resistant bacteria are becoming increasingly common in contaminated meat from industrial processing facilities. When you consume this meat, you're exposing yourself to superbugs that don't respond to standard medical treatments. The hormones and growth promoters used in industrial meat production can disrupt your endocrine system, leading to reproductive problems, early puberty in children, and increased cancer risk. These chemicals accumulate in your body over time and can cause long-term health problems. Cross-contamination between different types of meat can expose you to pathogens that you wouldn't normally encounter. Fish bacteria in beef, poultry pathogens in pork, and other combinations can create unique health risks that are difficult to diagnose and treat. The preservatives and additives used in processed meat have been linked to cancer, heart disease, and neurological problems. Nitrates, sulfites, and other chemicals used to maintain appearance and extend shelf life are toxic to human health. Children and elderly people are particularly vulnerable to contaminated meat because their immune systems are less able to fight off bacterial infections. What might cause mild illness in a healthy adult can be life-threatening for vulnerable populations. The long-term consequences of consuming contaminated meat include increased risk of autoimmune disorders, chronic digestive problems, and reduced immune function. Your body's ability to fight off infections and diseases is compromised by repeated exposure to contaminated food. Now, let me tell you about the 3 grocery stores that actually care about meat quality and safety. First up is Whole Foods, and despite their higher prices, they offer meat quality and safety standards that justify the cost. Whole Foods has strict supplier requirements that go far beyond government regulations. Their meat suppliers must meet rigorous standards for animal welfare, processing safety, and quality control. They regularly audit their suppliers and will drop any facility that doesn't maintain their high standards. The meat at Whole Foods comes from animals that are raised without antibiotics or growth hormones. This means you're not consuming chemical residues that can disrupt your endocrine system or contribute to antibiotic resistance. The animals are also fed organic, non-genetically modified feed, which improves the nutritional quality of the meat. Whole Foods maintains excellent temperature control throughout their supply chain and in their stores. Their refrigeration systems are regularly monitored and maintained to ensure that meat stays at safe temperatures from delivery to purchase. This prevents bacterial growth and maintains freshness. The meat department staff receives extensive training in food safety, proper handling techniques, and quality identification. They're taught to recognize signs of spoilage and are empowered to remove any questionable products from sale. Customer safety is prioritized over profit margins. Whole Foods uses minimal processing and avoids the chemical treatments that other stores rely on to hide quality problems. Their meat looks and tastes the way meat should because it hasn't been subjected to artificial coloring, chemical preservatives, or gas treatments. The labeling ad is transparent and accurate. They provide detailed information about where the meat comes from, how the animals were raised, and what processing methods were used. You can make informed decisions about what you're feeding your family. Whole Foods offers a wide selection of grass-fed, pasture-raised, and organic meat options that provide superior nutrition and flavor compared to conventional industrial meat. The higher prices reflect the actual cost of producing quality meat safely and humanely. The butcher services are performed by trained professionals who understand proper meat handling and can provide custom cuts and preparation. They use clean equipment and follow strict sanitation procedures to prevent contamination. Number 2 is Costco, and this warehouse club has built a reputation for offering high-quality meat at reasonable prices through their bulk purchasing model and strict quality standards. Costco works directly with meat processors and often has exclusive relationships with high-quality suppliers. This allows them to maintain better control over the entire supply chain and ensure that their standards are met from processing to sale. The meat is typically fresher than what you'll find at traditional grocery stores because of their high volume turnover. Products don't sit on shelves for extended periods, reducing the risk of spoilage and contamination. Costco's refrigeration and storage systems are designed for their high-volume operation and maintain consistent temperatures throughout their facilities. The meat is stored in optimal conditions that preserve quality and prevent bacterial growth. The meat department employees are generally better trained and more experienced than those at discount grocery chains. They understand proper handling procedures and are committed to maintaining the quality standards that Costco is known for. Costco offers a generous return policy on their meat products, which demonstrates their confidence in the quality of what they're selling. If you're not satisfied with your purchase, they'll refund your money without question. The organic and grass-fed options are competitively priced and offer excellent value for customers who want higher quality meat without paying premium grocery store prices. The bulk packaging makes these options more affordable for families. The private label meat products, including their Kirkland Signature brand, are produced to higher standards than many national brands. They work closely with suppliers to ensure quality and consistency across their product line. The ground beef is made from higher quality cuts and is ground fresh in-store or at their processing facilities. This reduces the risk of contamination compared to pre-ground meat that's been sitting in packages for weeks. Number 3 isn't a chain at all. It's your local independent butcher shop. These businesses represent the gold standard for meat quality, safety, and customer service that the big chains can't match. Local butcher shops typically source their meat from regional farms and processors that they know personally. This direct relationship allows them to ensure quality and safety standards that go far beyond what's required by law. The meat at independent butcher shops is usually much fresher than what you'll find at grocery stores because they order smaller quantities more frequently. The meat hasn't been sitting in warehouses or trucks for weeks before reaching the customer. Independent butchers are skilled professionals who understand meat quality, proper aging, and safe handling procedures. They can identify problems that grocery store employees would miss and will refuse to sell meat that doesn't meet their standards. Local butcher shops often offer custom processing services, allowing you to buy directly from local farms and have the meat processed to your specifications. This gives you complete control over the quality and handling of your meat. The customer service is personalized and knowledgeable. The butchers can recommend cuts, provide cooking advice, and ensure that you get exactly what you need for your specific requirements. Many local butcher shops specialize in grass-fed, organic, or specialty meats that aren't available at grocery stores. They often work with local farms that use sustainable and humane practices, providing better quality and supporting your local economy. The prices are often competitive with high-end grocery stores, especially when you consider the superior quality and service. You're getting better value for your money even if the upfront cost is slightly higher. Local butcher shops are invested in their community and reputation in ways that corporate chains aren't. They depend on repeat customers and word-of-mouth recommendations, so they have strong incentives to maintain high standards. The traceability is excellent because they know exactly where their meat comes from and how it was processed. If there's ever a problem, they can quickly identify the source and take appropriate action. Now let me give you some practical advice for shopping smart when buying meat, regardless of where you choose to shop. Always check the color and smell of meat before buying it. Fresh beef should be bright red, pork should be pale pink, and chicken should be white or light yellow. Any off colors, slimy texture, or unusual odors are signs of spoilage that you should avoid. Read the labels carefully and understand what they mean. Terms like natural and fresh are largely meaningless, while organic, grass-fed, and pasture-raised have specific standards that indicate higher quality. Check the packaging dates and choose the freshest products available. Don't assume that meat on sale is a good deal. It might be marked down because it's approaching its expiration date. Ask questions about where the meat comes from and how it was processed. Good stores will be happy to provide this information, while stores with something to hide will be evasive or dismissive. Consider buying in bulk from reputable sources and freezing what you don't use immediately. This can be more economical and ensures that you have high-quality meat available when you need it. Build relationships with knowledgeable meat department staff who can help you select the best products and provide cooking advice. These relationships are valuable for getting the best quality and value. Don't be afraid to pay more for better quality meat. The health benefits and superior taste of high quality meat justify the additional cost, and you'll likely eat less because it's more satisfying. Look, I've just exposed the 5 worst grocery stores for meat that are putting your family's health at risk while recommending 3 sources where you can actually trust what you're buying. The difference between contaminated meat and quality meat isn't just about taste, it's about your family's safety and health. But knowledge without action is worthless. Stop shopping at stores that prioritize profits over your safety and start buying meat from sources that actually care about quality. Your health is worth more than saving a few dollars on contaminated products. If this video opened your eyes to the dangers lurking in grocery store meat departments, smash that like button right now. It helps more people discover the truth about where their food comes from and how to make safer choices for their families. Drop a comment below, sharing your own experiences with grocery store meat. Have you gotten sick from from contaminated meat? Have you noticed quality differences between stores? Your experiences help other viewers make better decisions about where to shop. Share this video with anyone who buys meat for their family. Your friends, relatives, and neighbors deserve to know which stores are safe and which ones are putting their health at risk. This information could literally save lives. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell for more food safety exposés that reveal the truth about what you're really eating. The meat industry has plenty more secrets that need to be exposed. Remember, every dollar you spend is a vote for the kind of food system you want to support. Stop voting for stores that sell contaminated meat and start supporting businesses that actually care about your health and safety. The question is, are you going to keep risking your family's health with contaminated grocery store meat, or are you going to start shopping at places that actually deserve your trust? Your family's health depends on the choice you make.